I'm William Nozak, and in this module, I'm talking about developing marketing objectives. What are marketing objectives? Foundation. These are the foundation for an effective inbound marketing strategy, right? You've got salesmen that are out there finding potential end users or buyers or clients or customers, whatever you call them. But then we've got this inbound marketing, this expertise, authority, and trust building thing, this content strategy, where we build this robust digital footprint and it creates this inbound flux of leads. So we need a foundation. We need to understand some objectives. So we have to have defined goals for the business, what the value proposition is, how are we different than the competition? Maybe it's just that we're a little bit cheaper. Maybe it's that we're a little bit more expensive because we're higher quality. Maybe it's because we've got this unique thing or a part to our service that no one else is willing to do. And we always want to point toward clear metrics and have KPIs that we can measure, or key performance indicators that we can say, look, we're moving the needle and here's what we're looking at to know those things. There's just too many metrics these days to really know if you're doing well, if you're trying to keep your eyes on everything. So when it comes to setting goals, we want to keep it simple, right? To keep it simple, stupid is really how you should go about these things. You can also use the SMART techniques: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. When we're talking about strategies and tactics, we might do things like we're kicking off all these campaigns to increase sales, which is pretty standard. Or we need to build more brand awareness. Nobody knows that we offer this product or this service. Or we're launching a new product or service, say, such as a digital marketing school, when you've been continuously a digital marketing company. And then you've got other brands that market into niches, right? This is a new product or service. So there has to be a strategy to go about this, such as the strategy that might have been used with Search Hustle. And we can talk about those things. And then you want to have a strategy to target new clients, or we have to understand what clients or what states or what types of clients we just haven't done a good enough job targeting. How do we grow our market share? How can we figure out what market share we have, how much market share we need, who's got the market share, what are they doing to get that market share, and how can we get more of it? It's all a competition. It's actually, running a business in America, in my opinion, is the most fun when it comes to competition. And then how are we going to enter new markets? Are we going to enter new local markets, new statewide markets? Say you're in one city and there's another large city or multiple large cities in your state. How do we target states that are nearby, a region? How do we target the whole United States? We certainly, you always want to make sure that you've got your market handled before you try to handle other markets. The worst thing would be to not shore up your own market or your own beachhead and then try to take on other beachheads. Some people can do it and do it well. But for the most part, all other things being held equal, we want to always make sure that we've got our beachhead handled, whatever we choose our beachhead to be. And then figure out, hey, we're doing it well, we've got this down. How do we find new markets? Enhance customer relations. You can never interface with a client enough. Certainly you can over communicate, but when it comes to enhancing that customer relationship, there are certain things that can be done and always done better. We want to increase internal communications between our teams. If you've got a marketing team, you've got a video person, you've got a social media person, you've got a website developer, you've got an IT team, you've got an SEO person, you've got an ads person, you've got writers, you've got researchers, you've got video photographer. I mean, you've got all these different teams. And they're not always on the same page. Your ads guy and your SEO strategy, the social media strategy. It's best to try to improve those internal communications, especially if you're working on a client or if you're a team working on one client or multiple clients. Those internal communications between teams, you always want to improve those processes. And at the end of the day, maybe it's really at the end of a big deal to just increase profitability. So KPIs, some examples: conversion rates. We start at the top, the whole world. You've got humans. And then those humans that are end or potential buyers of your product. So You've got that batch, which is smaller than the whole world. So the batch of people that may end up buying our service or product. And then we've got our true impressions. What impression load did we get? And then those impressions, we've got clicks, and then clicks that turned into leads, and then leads that turned into sales. And so there's a conversion rate across that. How many impressions does it take to get clicks? How many clicks does it take to get leads? How many leads does it take for us to get sales? Conversion rates are really everything. How many people started a form but abandoned it along the way? There's always a way for CRO optimization on every single page, on every single thing you make, everywhere. There's always a lens of CRO. What do we do that produces the most good leads that turn into sales? What can we do in our sales process to increase the conversion rate? What can we do in our online digital or content strategy to increase clicks that turn into leads? Bounce rate. Bounce rate's really important. If you have a robust blog strategy, it's possible you have a high bounce rate as well. It's true. You might have a one-off blog that really has no bouncing points. The best thing is to have a robust blog strategy that has additional content that people also want to read so that they go from that page to another page. And that might be one side of your website, your blog side. You might even have a shopping cart side with a bounce rate where people are they hit that item, but they don't do things. Or they hit the main part of your website and your interiors, and they hit that page, but then they really don't do anything. So we want to be watching our bounce rates, and there are different ranges. Like if your industry notoriously has a high bounce rate of 70-80% because we're processing lots and a wide net, then maybe your hope is to get it down to 75, 74, 70. Or you're usually in the 70s. What can we do to try to get this bounce rate in the 60s? Or what can we really get it to be in the 50s? Or maybe you're just blessed and you've got it in the 20s or the 10s. What can we do to continually improve that bounce rate? At the same time, you need to be doing things that maybe are anti-bounce rate, like adding additional content that helps us to increase our impression load, increase our expertise, authority, and trust in the space. These metrics, there's different sides to the coins here, and it doesn't always read one way. So you want to be mindful of that. And then our lead to customer ratio. Does it take me 100 clicks to get 10 leads? Does it take me 10 leads to get one customer or one sale? How can I go from 10 leads to 2 sales? What can I do in the sales process? Branded traffic, that people that actually go to Google and put your company or your service or your product name in. What is that branded traffic load? How do we increase more of that? That shows our branding campaigns are working. And Facebook's notorious when you're spending money there to be what we like to say, half branding, half advertising. It helps brand for people to go back into search engines and type in your name to look you up. So it's kind of got some branding components to it. So here's how the SMART marketing objectives break down. It's specific. Each objective is defined and outlined. Define it as much as possible. And then is it measurable? What are the benchmarks? What are the KPI we're looking at in regard to it? And then can we measure this? Is there a level of qualitative understanding and quantitative things that we can say, hey, the needle's moving. Which way is the needle moving? Is this good or bad? Do we need to change the KPI? Do we need an add or subtract a KPI? Is it achievable? How many times have you heard someone say, I have no cash flow? Well, how much are you trying to do in sales this year? 10 million. Really? Oh, no. Okay. No cash flow, trying to do 10 million. You got to have achievable goals. That's just obnoxious. And some people can do that, and in certain spaces that can happen, like a new software. Certainly, there's a lot to the process. There's a lot of steps that you have to take before you want to go directly to 10 million. Or you can go directly to 10 million and have $10 million worth of unhappy clients. There's a lot of things that need to be worked out along the way, and make sure that's really even the business or the service or the product that you're even trying to have. Certainly, if it makes good money, you can make an exception. Is it relevant? Every goal set contributes to the overall company objective and the direction the business needs to move. C-suites, individuals or C-levels are going to ask you, okay, you're going to do that, but why? how is it going to turn into something that moves the needle from the leads or the sales perspective? Rarely do they ever care about impression loads, right? Marketers understand impression loads lead to larger click loads usually. And that's really kind of the funnel that we try to focus on. So we want to make sure that it's relevant. It matches up with the end goal of the business. What is the business trying to do in that quarter, in that year, in the 5-year span? And then it's time bound. There's got to be deadlines. It's got to be trackable. We got to have some type of realistic deadline. Deadlines are, all of these are just a framework. They help us to think through and try to make a plan. But really at the end of the day, it's just the plan. Like what the end result is, it's usually just very different, very modifiable. It just gives us something to think through and measure. And we want to stick with smart. Keep it simple, stupid is really, at the end of the day, a good way to do it, but measurable. Have something where we can have a dialogue about those things. When you're choosing your marketing objectives, each business is going to be slightly different. There really isn't something out there that's just so unique that your objectives are so different, right? We've got nonprofit businesses, we've got governmental entities, we've got things that really aren't businesses, they're more hobbies. And we can just start from there. From a macro perspective, there are a lot of similarities here. And then, of course, as we get down further and further into the process or the product or the company, there are going to be some things in there that are unique to you. So we want to always do solid research to back your marketing objectives as much as we can, qualitative, quantitative, surveys, Google Analytics, Google Search Console. What are the ads saying? What are our sales teams saying? So this keeps our efforts focused and effective. We don't want to have goals that don't really make any sense in the long game. Or short game, long game for marketing, they really are very connected. So it's some examples. Increase the sales is a common marketing objective for most businesses. However, leaving the objective at this is too broad and it really lacks direction. Increase sales, right? That makes no sense. Increasing sales to a specific market, to a specific segment of a specific service. Now we can start to devise a plan to get there. So a better way would be increase lead generation by 25%. There are certain things and levers that we can pull to make that happen. We can spend more ad money in Google or in a different way. Spend more money on Facebook or Twitter or wherever those buyers are. We can produce more blog content or more content on the website. Post more often on social media or varied. See what other people are doing in the competitive intelligence and do more of those things. Get more salespeople doing more calls if that's your strategy. Get them making more connections with people, joining more groups, going to more meetings where you meet more people. You know what I mean? There's things we can do that we can point back to lead generation, say it's up 5%, it's down, it's not moving. What do we need to do differently? So set KPIs for every marketing objective. Evaluate the progress of your marketing objectives by using KPIs and benchmarks. We don't want to have pointless KPIs. We want to be able to show business owners that what we're doing is increasing the digital footprint. And what we're doing is increasing the click loads. What we're doing is increasing the different places that people are able to see our brand, interface with our brand, that there are more leads coming in from these different places, that the leads are turning into sales, that we're growing certain parts of our portfolio. There's just so many different ways that you can look at KPIs and say, we do more of these things. Let's scale this part. Let's do more of this. When we do more of this, it leads to more of this. So establish the best metrics to meet your marketing objectives. Whatever your marketing objectives are, usually it's going to be attached at the end to sales or better client retention or less loss of great clients. Once you find those really great clients that you love, you want to do more to attract more of those clients, right? You've got 10 clients, you can help all 10 of them, but 3 or 4 of them are a real pain and they don't fit your product offering. They're never going to be happy. Another 4 are mediocre. They're not really singing your praises, but you're satisfying their needs. Another 3 or 4 that you just home run with. You love them, they love you. How do we get more of these people? that, in the end of the day, our KPI need to match up in our benchmarks. You need to help us get more of those. So that's the importance of developing marketing objectives. Use the SMART grid or technique. Keep it simple, stupid. Make sure that it's increasing your impression loads, your click loads, your lead loads, and your sales. Make sure the sales team can interface back with you to tell you, yes, we're getting good leads here, because not all leads are the same. Facebook leads are not the same temperature as Google leads, are not the same temperature of word of mouth, are not the same temperature of our content strategy, are not the same temperature of our email marketing, are not the same temperature of our other websites or places that are referring to us in a white label form or whatever form, or selling for us. There's so many different temperatures here, and we want to get that from our sales team so we can reset and set our KPI to get more of those good quality leads. If you need to go back and watch it again, go ahead and do that. If not, I'll see you in the next module.